Dear students, I welcome all of you to the first session of 14th chapter, Special Contracts, Contracts of Indemnity and Contracts of Guarantee. Today we are going to discuss about contracts of indemnity and contracts of guarantee and what are the difference between contract of indemnity and contract of guarantee. Contract of indemnity. The term indemnity means to compensate or make good the loss, which means indemnity is an act to compensate or protect somebody against the loss. It is an act to compensate or protect somebody against the loss, which is defined in the Indian Contract Act under section 124. A contract by which one party promises to save the other from the loss caused to him by the conduct of the promiser himself or by the conduct of any other person is called a contract of indemnity. So contract of indemnity, it is a promise by which one party save the other from the loss caused to him. It can be due to the conduct of the promiser himself or by the conduct of any other person. For example, A takes court proceedings against B to recover a sum of rupees 1,000. At this juncture, C enters into an agreement with B and promises to compensate B from the loss or consequence of such court proceedings which A takes against B. So this is a contract of indemnity. Again, I am repeating. A takes court proceedings against B to recover a sum of rupees 1,000. And at this point, C enters into an agreement with B and promises to compensate B from the loss or consequence of such court proceedings which A takes against B. So this is a contract of indemnity. The person who promises to save the other from the loss is called an indemnifier. And the person to whom the promise is made is called an indemnity holder or indemnified. So there are two terms in contract of indemnity. One is indemnifier and the other one is indemnity holder. Indemnifier means a person who promises to save the other from the loss. And the person to whom the promise is made is called an indemnity holder or indemnified. This is an example. C is the indemnifier. Means the person who saves the other from the loss. Here C is saving B from loss. So C is the indemnifier and the person to whom the promise is made is called indemnified. Here in this example B is the indemnified. He is promisee. So in order to constitute a valid contract of indemnity, there should be three ingredients. One is one party must promise to save the other from the loss caused to the latter, and the loss must have been caused to him by the conduct of the promiser himself, and or the loss must have been caused by the conduct of any other third person, which is already discussed in the definition itself. So this is contract of indemnity. Contract indemnity means to compensate or make good the loss. It is an act to compensate or protect somebody against loss or to make good the loss suffered. The next topic is features of indemnity contract. The main features of an indemnity contract are: the very first one, it can be either express or implied. What is express? If the terms of the contract of indemnity are either in oral or written form, it's called a express contract. It is in a written form or oral form, that's called a express contract. And implied contract of indemnity means where the contract of indemnity can be inferred from the circumstances. If we are inferring from the circumstances, that contract is called implied indemnity contract. If it is in a written or oral form, that's called express indemnity contract. So the indemnity contract, it can be either express or implied. Implied means inferred from the circumstance of the case. The second feature is there should be compensation of loss. Then the third one, essentials of valid contract. A contract of indemnity is also required to possess all the essentials of a valid contract, which was already discussed in the second chapter. What are the essentials of a valid contract? All the essentials of a valid contract must be there in a indemnity contract, including consideration, free consent, offer, acceptance, etc. Next, we are going to look at what are the rights of an indemnity holder. Who is an indemnity holder? The person to whom the promise is made is called an indemnity holder or indemnified. Here we are going to look at what are the rights of an indemnity holder. The very first right is right to recover damages. All damages which he may be compelled to pay if any suit of any matter to which the promise to indemnify applies. He is entitled to recover damages. The second right is right to recover cost. All cost he may be compelled to pay in any such suit. But the indemnity holder can recover such cost only if he had acted prudently and did not contravene the orders of the indemnifier, or only if the indemnifier authorized him to bring or defend the suit. So there are three conditions to recover cost. He is entitled to recover all cost which he has paid in bringing or defending any suit in respect of the contract of indemnity, but it is subject to the conditions. So we can conclude that an indemnified or indemnity holder can recover all cost which he has paid while bringing or defending any suit in respect of the contract of indemnity. The conditions are: if he had acted prudently and did not contravene the orders of the indemnifier, or only if the indemnifier authorized him to bring or defend the suit. And the third right is right to recover the sums paid. All sums which he may have paid under the terms of the compromise of any such suit, provided such compromise is not contrary to the orders of the promisor and was one which it would have been prudent for the indemnity holder to make. It says that if the indemnity holder can recover all the sums which he may have paid under the terms of compromise. He is entitled to recover all the sums he paid under the terms of compromise, but it is subject to the condition that the compromise must not be contrary to the orders of the promisor, and compromise must be prudent. Then the promisor must have authorized him to compromise the suit. So these are the three rights of an indemnity holder: right to recover damages, and he is entitled to recover all the cost. Then he is entitled to recover all the sums paid at the time of compromise. The next topic is rights of an indemnifier. Indemnifier, it is a person who promises to save the other from the loss. And what are the rights of an indemnifier? There are mainly three rights. The very first right is right to subrogation. Right to subrogation means on payment of the amount of loss or liability to the indemnified, the indemnifier is subrogated to all the rights of indemnified. Which means while giving any amount of loss, any amount of liability of the indemnified. Indemnified means the person to whom the promise is made. Then the indemnifier, in that case, if any of the loss of or liability is paid by the indemnifier, then the indemnifier is subrogated to all the rights of indemnified. Then they can enjoy all the rights of indemnified, indemnity holder. They can file a suit against the person who is liable for the loss, and they can claim all the sums he paid. Which means indemnifier means the person who promised to save the other from the loss. So who is paying the amount of loss or liability. So he is entitled to all the rights of indemnified. The indemnifier can now file suit against the person who is actually liable for the loss, and they can claim all the sums paid to the indemnified also. Right to subrogation. Then the next right is right to equities. After making the payment to indemnified for the loss, the indemnifier is entitled for all equities which indemnified could have enforced against the third party liable for loss. So under this indemnity contract, there will be three parties, right? There will be two parties. One is indemnifier and indemnified. Indemnifier is a person who saves the indemnified from loss. In that situation, after making the payment, the indemnified for the loss, indemnifier is entitled for all the equities which the indemnified could have enforced against the third party who is actually liable for the loss. Then the right to refuse indemnity, which means the indemnifier has the right to refuse indemnity provided the loss caused to indemnity holder is beyond the scope of contract. They can also refuse indemnity if it is beyond the scope of contract. Indemnity means compensation. Indemnifier has the right to refuse the indemnity or the compensation provided the loss caused to indemnity holder which is beyond the scope of the contract. So there are mainly three rights of rights to an indemnifier. Indemnifier is a person who promised to save the other from loss. If he is paid any amount of the indemnified, then he can subrogate that amount, and he is entitled for all the equities which indemnified could have enforced against the third party. Then they have the right to refuse indemnity if it is beyond the scope of contract. The next contract is contract of guarantee, which is defined in the Section 126 of the Contract Act. A contract of guarantee is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of a third person in case of default. Actually, it is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of a third person in case of default. For example, A advanced a loan of rupees 10,000 to B at the request of C. Please note that A advanced a loan of rupees 10,000 to B at the request of C, and C promises to A that he will pay the amount in case if it is not repaid by the B. That's called a contract of guarantee. One person is acting as a guarantee for the another. So it is a contract to perform the promise or he will discharge the liability of a third party in case of default. There are mainly three parties. The person who gives the guarantee is called the guarantor or surety. Then the person in respect of whose default the guarantee is given is called the principal debtor. Then the person to whom the guarantee is given is called the creditor. So there are mainly three parties. The person who gives the guarantee is called a surety, and the person in respect of whose default the guarantee is given is called a principal debtor, and the person to whom the guarantee is given is called the creditor. The example, A is a creditor, means A advanced a loan of rupees 10,000 to B. So A is our creditor, the person to whom the guarantee is given. Then B is principal debtor. We advance loan to B. So B is our principal debtor. In the person in respect of whose default the guarantee is given is called a principal debtor. And C is surety. The person who who gives the guarantee is called a surety. In this example, C is our surety, B is principal debtor, and A is creditor. Features of contract of guarantee. There will be three parties in a contract of guarantee: the principal debtor and the surety and the creditor. There will be three parties in a contract of guarantee, and there will be three contracts. The very first contract is between the creditor and principal debtor, then between the surety and the creditor, and between the surety and principal debtor. So there will be three parties and three contracts in a contract of guarantee. The next term is capacity to contract. As we know that in order to create a valid contract, all the parties must be competent to contract. But in a contract of guarantee, the principal debtor may not be a person competent to contract. But his incapacity should be in the knowledge of surety. It says that a principal debtor may not be qualified or may not be competent to enter into a contract, but this thing or this news, it should be there in the knowledge of the surety. In such case, the surety is regarded as the principal debtor. He is liable to pay the debt. In under contract of guarantee, the contract between creditor and surety is treated as the primary contract. So, in order to create a valid contract, all the parties must be competent to contract. But in case of contract of guarantee, principal debtor may not be a person competent to enter into a contract, but his incapacity should be in the knowledge of surety. Then concurrence, which means all the parties. The contract of guarantee requires the indemnity in mind. Indemnity of mind means the contract of guarantee requires the indemnity of mind of all the said three persons in respect of the subject matter. All the parties must be willing to enter into contract. That's called a concurrence. Their willingness is called a concurrence. The creditor, the principal debtor, and the surety. It can be either through express or implied contract. Means it may be either express or implied by the circumstance of the case. But all the parties must be willing to enter into a contract. Then at the request of the principal debtor, guarantee is given by the surety at the express or implied request of the principal debtor. Then debt or liability. A contract of guarantee presupposes of a liability of enforceable by law. That is, in a contract of guarantee, the surety undertakes to pay a debt or discharge a liability of a third person in case of his default. So there is debt or liability which is discharged by the third person known as surety in case of default. Then consideration. There must be consideration for a contract of guarantee. But however, there need not be any direct or separate consideration between the surety and the creditor. The consideration received by the principal debtor may be sufficient consideration to the surety for the guarantee. For example, N requests M to sell and deliver to him goods on credit. M agrees to do so provided O will guarantee the payment of the price of the good. So O promised to guarantee the payment in consideration of M's promise to deliver the goods. So this is sufficient consideration for O's promise. Let me conclude that the consideration received by the principal debtor may be sufficient consideration to the surety for giving guarantee. There is no separate consideration required. Then free consent means in a contract of guarantee there must be free consent of all the parties concerned. Then writings not necessary. A contract of guarantee may either be oral or written. Writing is not necessary. It can be either oral. Then the last one. In order to create a valid contract of guarantee, it must have all the essential features that may be required in a contract. All essential features must be possessed in a contract of guarantee. So let me conclude. These are the features of contract of guarantee. There will be three parties and three contracts. All parties must be competent to contract. But in case of contract of guarantee, The principal debtor may not be a person too competent to contract, but this should be in the knowledge of surety, then willingness of all the parties, then at the request of principal debtor, then debt or liability will be it will be paid by the surety in case of default. Then consideration, free consent writing is not necessary, and all other essentials. In order to create a valid contract of guarantee, it must have all other essentials that may be required in a contract. The next topic is difference between contract of indemnity and contract of guarantee. Under contract of indemnity, there will be two parties, indemnifier and indemnified. Under contract of guarantee, there will be three parties, creditor, principal debtor and surety. The person who gives the guarantee is called surety, and the person in respect of whose default the guarantee is given is called a principal debtor, and the person to whom the guarantee is given is called a creditor. In case of indemnity, the person who promised to save the other from loss is called indemnifier, and the person in respect of whom the promise is made is called indemnified. So under contract of indemnity, there will be two parties. Under contract of guarantee, there are three parties. Then in case of nature of liability, the contract of indemnity, the liability of indemnifier is primary and independent. What is primary liability? Primary liability means obligation for which party is directly responsible. So indemnifier is directly responsible for the liability under contract of indemnity. Then under contract of guarantee, the liability of the surety is secondary. Secondary liability means it is a obligation that is the responsibility of another party if the party that is directly responsible fails to satisfy the obligation. The surety has to pay the amount, the liability, only if the principal debtor fails to do that. So the liability is called secondary. Surety is not directly responsible for the liability. But in case of contract of indemnity, the indemnifier is directly responsible for the liability. Then in case of contract of indemnity, there will be only one contract, but under contract of guarantee, there will be three contracts. Then existing debt or duty. In case of contract of indemnity, there is no existing debt or duty, but under contract of guarantee, there will be usually an existing debt or duty. Then on the basis of request by the debtor. Contracts of indemnity, it is not necessary for the indemnifier to act the request of the indemnity holder. But in case of contract of guarantee, it is necessary that the surety should give the guarantee at the request of the debtor. Debtor should, the surety will give the guarantee at the request of the debtor in case of contract of guarantee. But in case of contract of indemnity, it is not necessary for the indemnifier to act at the request of the indemnity holder. Then right to sue means the indemnifier cannot sue third parties for the loss in his own name unless there is agreement in his favor. But in case of contract of guarantee, a surety on the discharging the liability of the principal debtor is entitled to sue against the principal debtor in his own name. If the third party, the principal debtor fails to pay the amount, the surety need to discharge that amount. While discharging the liability, he is entitled to sue against the principal debtor. But it is not available in case of contract of indemnity unless the agreement is in his favor. Then consideration is must under contract of indemnity, but under contract of guarantee there is no separate consideration required between surety and a principal debtor. Then capacity of contract means both the parties must have a contractual capacity under contract of indemnity. Under contract of guarantee, principal debtor need not necessarily competent to contract, but surety must be competent to enter into a contract. So these are the main difference between contract of indemnity and contract of guarantee.